All of this breaking news we had yesterday. Manchester United sacked head coach Ruben Amorim after 14 months in charge. We posted a video on YouTube and our social medias, and here is what some of the comments had to say. So the first one on YouTube: we will never succeed until the management gets better. They'd even fire SAF if he was to hypothetically come back and have a bad run. Sad days for United fans yet again. SAF meaning Sir Alex Ferguson. JD, what do you make of this?
Don't ever put the words fire and Sir Alex Ferguson in the same sentence, even though Manchester United have technically done that in an ambassador role, but I just think that's the greatest manager of all time. Don't ever do that.
They almost sacked him in 1989.
Don't ever do that. He wasn't fired. I know people in my ear telling him he wasn't fired. He was relinquished of his role.
They were one game away from sacking him in 1990.
On to our next comment, head on the nail here by Troy Deeney. Amorim was cooking. Everybody wanted fast food instead of a good tasting, slow cooking stew that keeps you full and satisfied for a long time. Jeff, you agree?
Yeah, but he served up a load of cold drivel that nobody liked the taste of.
No seasoning either.
Don't buy that whatsoever.
Okay. On to our next comment. This one comes from Instagram. United aren't in position anymore to just sign the best players in the world, so they need to get a manager that will get them to play a consistent style of football, or this will keep happening. Nico, you agree?
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Listen, I don't think if a player is good enough to go to United, I think a player is good enough to go, or sorry, excuse me. If a player is good enough to go to Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester City to be with Pep, he's good enough to go to United, and he's not going to choose United. So I don't think it's about the manager. It's about committing to somebody that is willing to change the culture. And you're going to go through really rough times, but United aren't committing to anybody. They're hitting reset way too often.
I agree with that. I would just say to you, though, if Man United get back into the Champions League in what's been a weak Premier League season in terms of consistency, they're going to become an attractive prospect again to a lot of players.
I feel like Jude Bellingham would rather go to Real Madrid than to Manchester United, you know, those types of players.
Well, this is what the headlines in England had to say. When your trophies are nil and you cost 30 mil, that's Amorim.
How does that song go again? That's quite good.
That is a very good headline.
Sorry, can I just ask these headlines here?
Yeah.
Can I ask any of you, forget the words, what strikes you about that picture?
Smile.
That looks like the picture they put out when he arrives at the club.
Yeah, when he arrived.
But he's been smiling with sunglasses on ever since he knew that he was probably leaving. Remember when he came in the infamous car, wound the window down and had the sunglasses on too? He knew that this day was coming.
Yeah, he's looking very happy. Well, Ruben Amorim became the 6th manager in the Premier League to get sacked this season.
Wow.
Along
6?
Yeah, we saw Enzo Maresca a couple of days before. You can see the list here now. Nuno, Espírito, Santo, Graham Potter, Postecoglou, Vitor Pereira, and then we had Enzo Maresca and Ruben Amorim to join that list.
Poor Nuno. Nuno's going to get sacked twice.
Well,
there must be just a handful of Premier League managers to get sacked twice in the same season.
Funny you talk about Nuno Espírito Santo, Nico. We're going to be doing a little panic meter. Some managers who may be in the hot seat. All these sackings at the moment may have some clubs wondering, well, maybe I should get rid of my manager. So let's get started. Nuno Espírito Santo, how are you feeling with him, JD? Is he in the hot seat? On the panic meter, what would you rate him at? Obviously, he's at Wolves at West Ham at the moment, sorry.
Burning hot. He's in a lot of trouble. He's in a lot of trouble because West Ham are one of those clubs unconsciously that have, I don't want to call them an arrogance because their fan base have an entitlement in saying they want to play a certain style of football. And Nuno was never going to be that manager that was going to play that attractive front forward style of football. And then when you're not coupling that with results, you leave yourself in a very precarious situation. If they fired great managers, especially like David Moyes, who's been consistent, and all the others that have come before him, I don't see this ending well. And also their record and their form is coupling that he's in a lot of trouble. I don't think it will be poetic justice to see him lose his job this weekend, of course, been playing Nottingham Forest or this week. But he's in a lot of problems, man. He's in a really lot of problems. And I don't want to see him get fired twice in one season because the value will just plummet that way.
Mark Hughes, sacked by Stoke and Southampton 2018.
That sounds about right.
He remembers it well.
Well, OK, Espírito Santo burning hot. What about Rob Edwards at Wolves, Jeff? Where is he on the panic meter?
Well, he's in 2 places on my panic meter. I think he's loving life at Wolves. He's positive, hometown in terms of he's got family there, played for the club, strong association with the club, was brought in with the club in a perilous position. They're going down. He knows that, knew that when he took the job. However, I think he will be burning hot, desperate to avoid taking over Derby's crown from 2007, 2008 as the worst team ever in the Premier League, who only amassed 11 points. 11 points across a season, across 38 games. And what's interesting is, after 20 points, Derby County had 6 points. After 20 games, how many points do you think Wolves have got?
6.
They're only 5 away. Well, they need to beat the 11, right?
They're burning
7
hot.
points
They're
away.
in form since you've been giving them the green light.
Yeah, they won 1 game.
They're in form, bro.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, he's fine. He's not in any danger, but nobody wants that round their neck.
Yeah, definitely not. All right, moving on now. Thomas Frank at Tottenham. Nico, where is he on the panic meter?
Oh.
Okay. I think everybody's making it out to be much worse than it is.
You don't think Thomas Frank's under extreme pressure?
I think everybody
entitled fan base.
Well, like, hold up. Like, you think what's extreme pressure? I'm willing to go one less than what everybody thinks it is, because Spurs have got to commit. I think Andre's unsustainable. Andre's unsustainable.
Where have you got him, Nico?
Yeah, where have you got him?
For me, concerned.
Just concerned?
Concerned. It feels like firing a manager that has shown capabilities within the Premier League to be able to build some sort of project. It would be the wrong decision to fire him now, get a quick fix, and then restart all over again. Personally, if I was running Spurs, I would see it out through the summer and then reassess. But I don't know if Spurs need to push themselves towards panic stations right now. I think it would be ill-advised, in my personal opinion. I don't know how much that changed. Perhaps fans feel a little bit more urgent about the situation. But listen, 1 win in 5 is not great in the festive fixtures.
I can hear a few Spurs fans in the production. They're screaming. They want change. They want change instantly in terms of overall.
But it's back to crisis mode again.
But I do feel for him, because losing Kulusevski and losing Maddison for a large part of the season is always going to impact your fluidity going forward. So it's not really his fault, but when you're the hot seat, it's always your fault.
It's my unpopular opinion, perhaps hot take. I think it would get worse if they fire him.
I think he's one of the best managers in the league, so I agree with what he's saying. I do think he's one of the best head coaches in the league.
What about the next manager, though? Scott Parker at Burnley. Where would you put him on the panic meter, JayDee?
You know what's so crazy about Scott Parker? I think he's sitting in a very similar boat to Rob Edwards, and I don't actually think there's that much pressure on him. I think he would be concerned, because I'm listening to the quotations he said most recently in the press conference about losing fight and them embarrassing themselves and not really being dedicated or producing a Burnley-level performance. But I think those were more short-term quotes rather than a long-term trajectory, because I look at him and I think he's one of the young British managers that I think are doing really well. I think he's got an opportunity to establish himself here at Burnley. Great project in terms of as a club and a fan base that's going to be loyal to you, regardless if you go up or go down. And if they do get relegated, I do think they'll still stick by him, because I think the positives in what he's brought to this football club outweigh any negatives that are sort of weighing on his shoulders. And again, you have to find someone that wants to buy into this Burnley project, and he very much is bought into it.
How many times has he been promoted already? Like twice, right?
He's done really well.
3 times?
He's done really well. In terms of coming out of the Championship, it's something that he understands. So you want a manager that's experienced in doing those things. That's why you see certain managers consistently getting jobs at certain clubs, because they know how to get out of one of the hardest leagues in world football to get out of.
All right, then. Finally, Arne at Liverpool. Geoff, how panicked should he be?
Well, I find it amazing that he's the same odds as Thomas Frank to get the sack.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which I find very, very strange. I think he will be... I'd say he's concerned. I think he's concerned, even though, look, they're sat 4th in the table right now. They're unbeaten in 6. But the Mo Salah problem hasn't gone away. It's just been sort of put on the shelf. He's got injuries. They're not functioning exactly as he would like them. They've got defensive worries too. So they're not firing on all cylinders. I certainly don't think he's anywhere near stressed or burning hot. Nowhere near.
I agree.
What would have to happen? They keep losing. They lose more. Well, they're unbeaten in, 8 games now?
They've crept up the table, though. Like, they've kind of just gone underneath the radar because of the injury to Alexander Isak, and then, of course, Florian Wirtz getting his first couple of goals and whatever else. Everybody's kind of diverted their attention away from Liverpool. There's still struggles. The Fulham result is probably not the most positive, but you can deal with a Harrison Reed screamer in the last minute because that's not really reflective in terms of your squad. But I think the direction that they're going in is a more positive trajectory. So firing him now doesn't make any sense considering the mud consecutively that they've come out of.
I don't think firing Slot is anywhere in the conversation. I think it's a million miles beyond the horizon. Don't think it's even in the conversation.
He's built enough equity too, winning that league title.
Yeah. And I think there were points this season where had he not won that league title, we would be talking about Slot getting fired because of that credibility.
Also, the equity that he's built up, I would say the way he handled the Salah situation, fantastic.
Yeah.
I think he's turning the corner, but he's turning the corner with a Boeing 787. Like, it takes a long time to turn that corner, you know? It's like, a Boeing doesn't just turn a corner.
And they're looking at you like, what did you just say?
Is that a plane?
Correct.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, so it's taking a while for him to
It's the big ones too. It's the big ones. It's a jumbo jet.
Yeah. But it just feels there's signs that point to them starting to slowly get back to where they need to be, but it takes a lot to turn a 787.
Nico, you need to choose your words more carefully. You know Hannah only flies PJ.
That's true. So her turns around the corner pretty quick.
That's what we call that cash money.
Don't be so silly.
Don't be so silly.
Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie A, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.